I was so excited about this cut, I almost forgot to turn the camera on. We got something a little different going on here, and so far it looks like it's working pretty good. So let's continue this cut here and see what happens. Banging. Very consistent. This new system is working great. So let me tell you a little bit about what we did here. In one of the last videos you saw us using 2x4s here instead. That made things a little bit trickier. Now we're using 5/8 thick pieces of wood that just fit on the frame here, which gives me almost exactly the clearance I need. And I can put the bracket at almost 0 to get everything going. And it looks like that's going to be a really good solution for cutting these thin guys. That is so consistent. Absolutely beautiful cut right there. Got some room under there. Would you look at that? Sweep this off a little bit here. Wow, that looks fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Look at all that wood, all that sawdust. You'll notice I'm trying to look over as well as pay attention to the saw, but you'll notice when you hit those knots, it really gives you those long strings. Super cool. Super cool. Another thing we've learned is you get about 2 cuts, or maybe 3 if you're lucky, before you have to sharpen the chain. So we're going to go with that from now on and just continue sharpening regularly. I've got 2 chains for this bar, so we're just going to kind of keep cutting, and then after you cycle them out, sharpen everything. Some really cool shavings in there. Super long, 3-4 inches long. Look at that one. That turned out so good. That's one of the smoothest cuts we've made yet, period. I'm stoked on that. And these thin veneers are going to be going on here. Rustic Sauna's premier portable rustic sauna. Looks terrible right now because the original paper we put on here to begin with really didn't stick, even with the glue, and it's supposed to be the best glue that we used. But we're going to cover this all in wood, and it's going to look fantastic. Can't wait. We're going to take a wood chisel here and clean this up just a little bit to make it an easier start. Messing around so much, didn't film the start there. Wasn't even paying attention to the camera, was just paying attention to getting a good cut started. Let's see, a little uneven here, so let's come in here and just really lightly take a little bit off. I think if every 2 cuts we sharpen the chains or swap the chains, we're going to stop having these issues every 3rd or 4th cut, which would be awesome. I shouldn't be bringing that chisel anywhere near my body. It's razor sharp. Had a bug biting me there. I don't know if that's going to help a whole lot. Maybe not, but I did this in a couple of high spots just as a test before I made that last cut, just to kind of see what would happen. And it seems to have helped, so just a little, I don't want to take off too much and start causing it to dip. just a little layer, enough to smooth it out a little bit here. You can see how sharp that axe is. It's like a razor blade. It's doing what the chisel is, more or less, with less effort. This is another option if you have a little hatchet. So make sure you keep her sharp and easily accessible for when you're working. Aside from that though, I'm really not seeing anything that's causing us any problems, which means we should be able to get into a second cut very, very quickly. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. I don't care what anybody says. But I think the issues we're having lie when you hit these knots with a dull chain, they deflect. When the chain is sharp, they cut right through those knots like they're not even there. It's all nice and smooth there. That's awesome, I'm stoked. We're gonna run another pass. I'll get back to you. So tell us what you're doing right now.
I'm planing, because, you know, we're cheap. We don't have enough plane. That or a real plane. Rely on older ships. Underutilized.
What we're dealing with here is pretty good, but what we're trying to do is bring down a couple of the high spots again before we try to tackle this massive cut. It's been sitting on the trailer for about a week now because we ran into some issues with the chain that we were using. And now we've kind of rethought our strategy a little bit. And we're going to attempt to cut with the longer bar with some extra support, which will give us some more clearance, and we should be able to make this cut no problem. It's actually not that big on the one end, but it gets pretty difficult when you're dealing with all these knots and deviations in the woods.
Keep this off.
I know, these flies are ridiculous.
Flies are as big as the wasps out here.
Yeah, they are. Got a nice shady garage to work in here. Really happy with how this setup's worked out so far, to be honest. Working on these long ass pieces, everything's covered and dry when it's pouring rain. Mostly a few drops here and there, but I sure wish I recorded my foray with the cows this morning, I'll tell you what. Yeah, 6 a.m. the cows were waking us up, and 6:01 my two-stroke was running, and I chased them all off because I've had it. We're trying to sleep and have a good time just like they were while I showed them. Maybe tell the folks why you're making sure this piece is so perfect and what your plans are for it.
Oh, Mother's building a tiny home, you see. I need to finish my contractual obligations, as it were. She needs a pocket door, and I figure the best way to hide it is with a nice live edge shelf. Hide some of that disgusting electrical conduit.
This is how we're going to prepare for the next cut here, and we'll get back at you when we're ready to do this stuff. Well, you're back on with me here. It's been pouring rain. It's just starting to let up. I've got a ton of water on my tarp here, as you can see, trying to drip through and get in my way. It's been pouring pretty good. Try to get the rest of this off here before we get started. Almost forgot to tighten up my lock nuts here. Sounds like Mike's on his way over just in time. So we've got bracket set up. We're running 2-inch boards now. We took off the wooden sliders I had on there for milling the thin stuff. And we've got the 32-inch bar on there. And we've adjusted it in such a way where it may make this quite possible. The last time we used it, we had okay success, but I think we were using it in a situation where it was mostly unnecessary. I think that caused us some problems, but let's see if we can get this bitch started. cutting. So now let's do this review. Look at this. That is gorgeous. That's a fantastic cut right there.